friends, welcome back to the Research to Empower Masterclass series. I'm Grace Liu, joined by my sister Jessica, and we are talking about research in a way that's easy to digest and fun. Today, we're introducing research methodology and what that can look like.
What is research methodology? Sounds so fancy.
It's not actually that bad. Research methodology refers to systematic procedures or techniques a researcher uses to ensure that the study achieves valid, reliable results. And this is according to Jansen and Warren in the year 2020. Basically, a research methodology in plain old English is a kind of like a plan that you would use to guide you on your research, and that plan consists of different techniques that you would use in order to answer your research question and get the best results that you can. So there are three general choices of research methodology, and these are basically three general types of methodology. The first is qualitative methodology. The second is quantitative methodology. And then the third is a mix of qualitative and quantitative. Oh my god, that is a mouthful. I know you just heard a lot of titatives, but basically we'll get into the difference between qualitative and quantitative methods.
That's a lot of titatives, but okay. Why do you need this? Can't you just go with that flow?
I know you like to do that a lot, and I know we also talked about that in our previous episode about making a research plan and all that, but you can't just go with the flow and whatever your intuition is with research methodology, because research methodology is actually the part with research that you have to be careful with so that you don't get criticized by a lot of people. Because oftentimes when other people are looking to criticize a research paper, they go directly for the research methodology because there seems to be always something that you can do better there. And the reason why we need to carefully ponder over which methodology to use is because you need to be strategic and think about what would work best for you and your research questions. You can't just randomly use something you think is cool but is totally irrelevant to what you're studying. But hopefully what you use is also fun too. Jessica, wake up! Okay, so if you just totally didn't get what I was trying to say, don't worry. Basically, I'll put it in a more simple way and maybe easier for you to understand, Jessica.
Yeah, I fell asleep.
Okay, so you like to paint a lot, right?
Yeah.
You like to paint on your iPad. Mm-hmm. So research methodology is kind of like choosing the brushes that you want to use.
Yeah.
You can't just choose a random brush, right? Because then the results will come out differently. If you're trying to go for pixel art, you know what pixel art is, right? Obviously. Then you would use a brush that can stamp squares onto your canvas.
AKA literally called the pixel brush.
Yeah. So you wouldn't use a brush that's able to blend and is just like a circle, or a textured brush that can give you like different stars and sparkly and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
You would use the correct brush for the correct painting that you're trying to do. That's similar to research methodology. And that's why I think a lot of people say research is like a form of art, or research is kind of like cooking, which can also be arguably like a form of art, because I feel like anything that humans do, if you take it to the extreme, it can be a certain form of art, right?
Yep.
So with cooking, one of my research mentors always like to say that, especially with data collection, which is a kind of sneak peek into the future episode, but with data collection, a lot of the times it's like gathering the ingredients for your dish, and then data analysis and stuff is like prepping the ingredients and then doing the actual cooking. So anyway, that's a lot of different ways to just express that research methodology is really important, because research is systematic, and you can't be disorganized about it, or else the results that come out will not be the results that you want, just like in a painting, just like in a dish that you're trying to make when you're cooking. For example, something that's actually applicable to research settings is in a lab, you're examining bacteria and what factors affect the growth of that bacteria, okay? You can't just show up to the lab and record data whenever you feel like it. You need to make a plan. Like, okay, which days should I record the data? Maybe I'll come every other day. And, okay, what variables will I test? Based on the literature, I'm just making this up, by the way. There's sunlight, food, and then I should alter it in a certain way, and I'll just write all that down. So basically, this should all be relevant to your hypothesis, which we just talked about. And this research methodology should help you answer your research questions.
What if I don't want to work at a lab?
That's perfectly fine too. And to be honest, I don't even work in a typical scientific lab with, the stereotypical chemicals and microscopes, and you wear like the white jacket like you see. I was just searching like Google Images the other day to put like an image up for my blog post.
Yeah.
And I searched the word research, and then every single photo that appeared was a scientist wearing like lab goggles, and then they were examining through like a microscope, or they were examining like chemicals, and it was like a typical lab setting, right? It's all like white and sometimes like bluish. So anyway, I don't work in that type of lab because it's just not feasible for me in my schedule. And I'm sure it's not feasible for a lot of other people's schedules, but for other people, they also are really interested in working in a lab. And I think that's totally cool too, because labs are really cool.
Yeah.
But the point is, these are all different ways that you can use research methods. So research methods doesn't have to be a set way. It's something that you design so that your research is truly your own. It's your own project, just like with painting again. You choose the brushes that you like. It's also why so many artists like to make their own brushes that they're most comfortable with, and that kind of forms their style sometimes, right? And then they sell their brush packs and stuff for people who kind of want to start forming their own styles. People like me, I'm obsessed with collecting the different brush sets, just like I'm really interested in the different research methodologies. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent, but what I was trying to say is, if you don't want to work in the lab, then there are plenty of different research methodologies, because social science in general, you don't really work in labs like that, the typical laboratory. So, and there's a huge field, social science, and you might just analyze data in a different way. And the research methodology then would be which software that you use. For example, some of the different softwares, I'm just listing a couple of examples, and we're going to go into that in more detail later in the upcoming few episodes. And basically those could look like, I know a popular one is R, and then another popular one is Python and Stata, so etc., etc. And those are different. You can use specific statistical methods and stuff. So it's all in the way that you design it. And that leads me to my closing question for this episode, which is, what is your understanding of what research methodology is now? And if you want to, kind of a bonus question is, what are some of the ideas that you have right now about where you want to go in terms of your research methodology? That's it for today. Thank you for listening. If you want to check out details about stuff we reference, it's available in the show notes. Head over to research2empower.org to submit your response to the question for this episode and complete the masterclass along the way. Tune in to the next episode, and we will go into the details of what qualitative research is. qualitative. Qualitative? Say that 10 times fast.
Qualitative, 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 qualitative.
You messed up like 3 times. I feel
That
like.
doesn't actually.
It doesn't sound like a word anymore, doesn't it?
Qualitative.
Like when you say
Why does it say
qualitative,
titive so much?
and then no, you should try saying qualitative, quantitative 10 times fast.
Okay. Qualitative, quantitative.
No, but like no pause. Like qualitative, quantitative.
Qualitative, qualitative. Qualitative, qualitative. Quantitative.
Okay, we're done.
Bye.